Play on Words, a theatrical podcast. Please turn off all outside distractions so as not to disturb the performance. Today's episode is sponsored by Youth Shakespeare Society of Pittsburgh. For the best audio experience, we recommend using headphones for tonight's production of 6 Characters in Search of an Author, Part 2. Please be aware that there is a loud gunshot sound effect in this performance. Listen at your own comfort.
Nonsense! Nonsense! Do it yourselves! I'm not going to mix myself up in this mess. Come now, children. Let's run. Oh, my little darling. You're frightened, aren't you? You don't know where we are, do you? What is this place? Well, it's somewhere where people play at being serious. A place where they act comedies. We've got to act a comedy now. Dead serious, you know, and you're in it also, little one. Oh, darling, darling. What a horrid comedy you've got to play. What a wretched part they've found for you. A garden, a fountain. Look, just suppose, Kitty, it's here. Where, you say? Why, just try to picture it. It's all pretense, you know. That's the trouble, my pet. It's all make-believe here. It's better to imagine it, though. All they can offer here is mere sound effects, illusions to the ear, and pale mockery of reality. But I think a baby like this one would sooner have a make-believe fountain than a real one, so she could play with it. What a joke it'll be for the others. But for you, alas, not quite such a joke. You who are real, baby dear, and really play by a real fountain that is big and green and beautiful, with ever so many bamboos around it that are reflected in the water and a whole lot of little ducks swimming about. No, Rosetta, no. Your mother doesn't bother about you on the account of that wretch of a son there. I'm in the devil of a temper, and as for that lad, come here. What have you got there? Take that hand out of your pocket. What's in there? Ah, where did you find a revolver? Idiot. If I'd been in your place, instead of killing myself, I'd have shot one of those two. Or both of them. Father and son.
Come on, dear. Come here for a minute. We've arranged everything. It's all fixed up.
If you please, young lady, there are 1 or 2 points to settle still. Will you come along?
What's the good if you've arranged everything?
Look at them. Oh, this is fine. Fine. And to think I can't even get away.
Dear?
Mother.
And is it my punishment worst of all?
Oh, yes.
My God, why are you so cruel? Isn't it enough for one person to support all this torment? Must you insist on others seeing it also?
And they want to put it on the stage? If there was at least a reason for it. He thinks he has got at the meaning of it all. Just as if each one of us in every circumstance of life couldn't find his own explanation of it. He complains he was discovered in a place where he ought not to have been seen, in a moment of his life which ought to have remained hidden, and kept out of the reach of that convention which he has to maintain for other people. And what about my case? Haven't I had to reveal what no son ought ever to reveal? How father and mother live and are man and wife for themselves, quite apart from that idea of father and mother which we give them. When this idea is revealed, our life is then linked at one point only to that man and that woman. And as such, it should shame them, shouldn't it?
Take your seat. Look here. This is the outline of the scenes, act by act. And now I'm going to ask you to do something out of the ordinary.
Take it down in shorthand?
Exactly. Can you do shorthand?
Yes, a little.
Good. Here's a notebook and a pen. You follow the scenes as we play them and try to get the points down, at any rate the most important ones.
Excuse me, we...
Don't worry, you won't have to improvise.
What have we to do then?
Nothing. For the moment, you just watch and listen. Everyone will get their part written out afterwards. At present, we're going to try the thing as best we can. They're going to rehearse now.
We? What do you mean, if you please, by a rehearsal?
A rehearsal for my actors here.
But since we are the characters...
All right, characters then, if you insist on calling yourself such. But here, my dear sir, the characters don't act. Here the actors do the acting. The characters are there, in the book, when there is a book.
I won't contradict you, but excuse me. The actors aren't the characters. They want to be. They pretend to be, don't they? Now, if these folks here are fortunate enough to have us alive before them...
Oh, this is grand. You want to be heard by the public yourselves, then?
As we are...
I can assure you it would make for some magnificent radio.
What's the use of us here anyway, then?
You're not going to pretend that you can act. It makes me laugh. There, you see, we are laughing at the notion. But, by the way, I must cast the parts. That won't be difficult. They cast themselves. You play the mother. We must find her a name.
Amalia, sir.
But that is the real name of your wife. We don't want to call her by her real name.
Why ever not, if it is her name? Still, perhaps if that lady must... I see the character herself as best fit for Amalia, but do as you like. I don't know what to say to you. Already I begin to hear my own words ring false, as if they've had another sound.
Don't you worry about it. It'll be our job to find the right tones. And as for her name, if you want her Amalia, Amalia it shall be. And if you don't like it, we'll find her another. For the moment, though, we'll call the characters in this way. You are the son. You, naturally, are the stepdaughter.
What? What, I? That woman there?
What is there to laugh at?
Nobody has ever dared to laugh at me. I insist on being treated with respect. Otherwise, I go away.
No, excuse me. I'm not laughing at you.
You ought to feel honored to be played by...
Ahem. That woman there?
But I wasn't speaking of you, you know. I was speaking of myself. Whom I can't see at all in you. That is all. I don't know, but you aren't in the least to like me.
True. Here's the point. Look here, sir. Our temperaments, our souls...
Temperament, soul be hanged. Do you suppose the spirit of the piece is in you? Nothing of the kind.
What, haven't we our own temperaments? Our own souls?
Not at all. Your soul, or whatever you like to call it, takes shape here. The actors give an identity to it, give your soul a voice. And my actors, I may tell you, have given expression to much more lofty material than this little drama of yours, which may or may not hold up at all. But if it does, the merit of it, believe me, will be due to my actors.
I don't dare contradict you, sir, but believe me, it is a terrible suffering for us, who are as we are, with these bodies of ours, these features to see.
Good heavens! Appearance matters not. This is radio, my good fellow.
Maybe, but the voice, the intonation of our words.
Now, look here. In production, you, as yourself, cannot exist. The actor here acts you, and that's an end to it.
I understand. And now I think I see why our author, who conceived us as we are, all alive, didn't want to put us on the stage, or radio after all. I haven't the least desire to offend your actors. Far from it. But when I think that I am to be acted by... I don't know by whom.
By me, if you've no objection.
Honored, I assure you, sir. Still, I must say that try as this gentleman may, with all his goodwill and wonderful art, to absorb me into himself...
Oh, chuck it. Wonderful art. Withdraw that, please.
The performance he will give, even doing his best to embody my essence.
It will certainly be a bit difficult.
Exactly. It will be difficult to act me as I really am. The effect will be rather according to how he supposes I am, as he senses me, if he does sense me, and not as I, inside of myself, feel myself to be. It seems to me, then, that account should be taken of this by everyone whose duty it may become to criticize us.
Heavens, the man's starting to think about the critics now? Let them say what they like. It is up to us to present this, if we can. Come on, come on. Are the mics set? Stand back, stand back. Let me see, and let's not lose any more time. Is it all right as it is now?
Well, to tell you the truth, I don't recognize the scene.
My dear lady, you can't possibly suppose that we can construct that shop of Madame Pace's within a recording studio. You said a white room with flowered wallpaper, didn't you?
Yes.
Well then, we've been sure to make a note of it for the requisite narration. You've included the note about the envelope.
An ordinary envelope?
Yes, an ordinary envelope.
As long as you make mention it is light blue.
Of course.
Ready, everyone? First scene, the young lady.
And what is...
No, you must wait. I meant the young lady who refers to herself as a character.
How I shall play it. How I shall live it.
I shall live it also. You may be sure. As soon as I begin.
Folks, if you please, no more useless discussions. Scene 1, the young lady with Madame Pace. Oh, and this Madame Pace, where is she?
She isn't with us, sir.
What the devil's to be done?
But she is alive, too.
Yes, but where is she?
1 minute. Let me speak. Have any ladies present brought with them a hat?
My
Hats?
hat?
What?
What for?
What does he say?
Why?
What are you going to do with the ladies' hats?
Oh, nothing. Do we have a coat rack we could bring in?
Go get the coat rack from the entrance hall, would you?
Right away, sir.
And may I ask why we need now to bring a coat rack into the scene?
To hang the hats, of course. And one of the ladies will be so kind as to take off her mantle.
Would an overcoat suffice?
Here we are.
Bring that here, will you? And leave some of the ladies' coats hanging, will you? The style may be a bit too modern, but I suppose we'll have to make do. Hats, if you have them, please. Just hang them here.
They're
This
not
is
all
really
You got
funny.
to put them on show.
Exactly. Just like that. On show.
May we know why?
I'll tell you. Who knows if, by arranging the stage for her, she does not come here herself, attracted by the very articles of her trade. Look! Look!
There she is.
It's she. I said
There
so,
she
didn't I?
is.
There she is.
What sort of trick is
Where did
this?
she come
They've been
from?
holding her in reserve, I guess.
a vulgar trick.
Excuse me, all of you. Why are you so anxious to destroy in the name of a vulgar, commonplace sense of truth, this reality which comes to birth attracted and formed by the magic of the stage itself? Which is the actress among you who is to play Madame Pace? Well, here is Madame Pace herself, and you will allow, I fancy, that the actress who acts her will be less true than this woman here, who is herself in person. You see, my daughter recognized her and went over to her at once. Now you are going to witness the scene.
Your mother, she's done it badly again. I can't use this. I can't use it. This is not
What does she say?
Again? What do you mean? I don't understand what's
Well?
wrong with them.
Well,
Well, it's a ruin. It's a torn or something. I don't know. I cannot use this thing. You really must get her to do better work.
One can't hear a word.
Please, we need your help. We have no other option. You are our last hope.
Oh, if I had a lira for every...
Louder! Louder, please!
Louder? Louder? What are you talking about? These aren't matters which can be shouted at the top of one's voice. If I've spoken them out loud, it was to shame the old man and have my revenge. But for Madam, it's quite a different matter.
indeed, but here you know people have got to make themselves heard, my dear. Even we, surrounded by some of the finest recording equipment money can buy, can't hear you. What will there be to record? What will the audience hear lest their volumes are cranked to the max? And anyway, you can very well speak up now among yourselves, since we shan't be present to listen to you as we are now. You've got to pretend to be alone in a room at the back of a shop where no one can hear you.
Nuh-uh.
And what could you possibly mean with such rude gestures?
There's someone who will hear us if Madam speaks out loud.
What, have you got someone else to spring on us now?
No, sir. She is alluding to me. I've got to be here, there behind that door, in waiting, and Madame Pace knows it. In fact, if you will allow me, I'll go there at once, so I can be quite ready.
No, wait, you must observe the limitations of the studio before you are ready.
No! Get on with it at once! I'm just dying, I tell you, to act this scene. If he's ready, I'm more than ready.
But my dear young lady, first of all, we must have the scene between you and this lady. Do you understand?
Good heavens! She's been telling me what you know already. That Mama's work is badly done again, that the material's ruined, and that if I want her to continue to help us in our misery, I must be patient.
Well, yes, indeed, sir. I know want to take an advantage of her. I don't want to be hard.
What? What? She talks like that?
Yes, that's the way she talks. Half English, half Italian. Most comical it is.
It does seem not very polite, the gentleman laugh at me. If I try your best to speak English.
I mean, of course. Let her talk like that. Just what we want. Talk just like that, madam, if you please. The effect will be certain, exactly what we wanted, to put a little comic relief into the crudity of the situation. Of course she talks like that. Magnificent.
Magnificent? Certainly. When certain suggestions are made to one in language of that kind, the effect is certain, since it seems almost a joke. One feels inclined to laugh when one hears her talk about an old signore who want to talk nicely with you. Nice old signore, eh, madam?
Not so old, my dear. Not so old. And even if you not like him, he won't make any scandal.
You old devil! You murderess!
Calm yourself, mother. Calm yourself. Please don't.
Calm yourself. Don't get excited. Sit down now.
Well then, take that woman away out of my sight.
Mr. Manager, it is impossible for my mother to remain here.
They can't be here together. And for this reason, you see, that woman there was not with us when we came. If they are on together, the whole thing is given away inevitably, as you see.
It doesn't matter. This is only a first rough sketch, just to get an idea of the various points of the scene, even confusedly. Come along, my dear lady. Sit down now, and let's get on with the scene.
Come on, madam. Come on.
No, grazie. I not do anything with your mother present.
Nonsense! Introduce this old signore who wants to talk nicely to me. We've got to do this scene one way or another, haven't we? Come on! You can go.
Ah, yes. I go away. Certainly.
Now, you make your entry. No, you needn't go over here. Come here. Let's suppose you've already come in. Like that, yes. I'm here with bowed head, modest-like. Come on! Out with your voice! Say, "Good morning, miss," in that peculiar tone, that special tone.
Excuse me, but are you the manager or am I? Get on with it, man. You needn't go off, just find your place at the microphone and wait until your entrance. Ready? Ready? Get ready to write now.
Good afternoon, miss.
Good afternoon.
But I say, this is not the first time you've come here, is it?
No, sir.
You've been here before, eh?
Mm-hmm.
More than once? Well then, there's no need to be so shy, is there? May I take off your hat?
No, sir. I'll do it myself.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Give it to me. I'll put it down. But a dear little head like yours ought to have a smarter hat. Come and help me choose one from the stock, won't you?
I say, those are our hats, you know.
Silence! Don't try and be funny, if you please. We're playing the scene now, I'd have you notice. And though do what you must to stay in character, please keep in mind this production is audio only. Begin again, please.
No, thank you, sir.
Oh, come now. Don't talk like that. You must take it. I shall be upset if you don't. There are some lovely little hats here, and then Madam will be pleased. She expects it anyway, you know.
No. I couldn't wear it.
Oh, you're thinking about what they'd say at home if they saw you come in with a new hat? My dear girl, there's always a way round these little matters, you know.
No, it's not that. I couldn't wear it because I'm, as you see, you might have noticed.
In mourning. Of course, I beg your pardon. I'm frightfully sorry.
Stop. It's I who must thank you. There's no need for you to feel mortified or especially sorry. Don't think any more of what I've said. I must forget that I'm dressed so...
Stop a minute. Stop. Don't write that down. Cut out that last bit. Fine. It's going fine. Sir, now you can go on as we arranged. Pretty good, that scene. Where he offers her the hat, eh?
Ugh. The best's coming now. Why can't we go on?
Have a little patience. Of course, it must be treated rather lightly.
Still, with a bit of go in it.
Of course. It's easy enough. Shall you and I try it now?
Why, yes. I'll find my place.
See here, the scene between you and Madame Pace is finished. I'll have it written out properly after. You remain here. Where are you going?
1 minute. I want to put my hat on again.
Now please go to a microphone and bow your head a bit. Get a sense of the character.
She scarcely gives the impression of being in mourning.
But I shall, and much more effectively than you.
Be quiet, please, and watch. You'll be able to learn something. Come on! Actors go when ready.
Good afternoon.
No, no!
Silence! And you please just stop that laughing. If we go on like this, we shall never finish.
Oh, forgive me, sir, but it's natural enough. This lady stands there still, but if she is supposed to be me, I can assure you that if I heard anyone say, "Good afternoon," in that manner and in that tone, I should burst out laughing as I did.
Yes, yes, the manner, the tone.
Nonsense! Rubbish! Stand aside and let the scene play out.
If I've got to represent an old fellow coming into a house of an equivocal character...
Don't listen to them. For heaven's sake. Do it again. It goes fine. Well...
Good afternoon, miss.
Good afternoon.
Ah, but, I say, this is not the first time that you have come here, is it?
Good. Not quite so heavily. Like this. This isn't the first time you have come here. And you say, "No, sir."
No, sir.
You've been here before, more than once.
No, stop! Let her make some expression of agreement first. A simple, demure, would suffice. You've been here before, eh?
Ugh.
Oh my god!
What's the matter?
Nothing.
Go on.
You've been here before, eh? Well, then there's no need to be so shy, is there? May I take off your hat?
I'm not here to be made a fool of by that woman there.
Neither am I. I'm through with it.
Silence for once and all, I tell you!
Oh, forgive me. Forgive me.
You haven't any manners. That's what it is. You go too far.
Yes, it's true, but excuse her.
Excuse what? It's absolutely disgusting.
Yes, sir, but believe me, it has such a strange effect when...
Strange? Why strange? Where is it strange?
No, sir. I admire your actors. This gentleman here, this lady, but they are certainly not us.
I should hope not. Evidently they could not be you. If they are actors...
Just so. Actors. Both of them act our parts exceedingly well. But believe me, it produces quite a different effect on us. They want to be us, but they aren't, all the same.
What is it then anyway?
Something that is theirs, and no longer ours.
But naturally, inevitably, I've told you so already.
Yes, I understand. I understand.
Well then, let's have no more of it. We'll have the rehearsals by ourselves, afterwards, in the ordinary way. I never could stand rehearsing with the author present. He's never satisfied. Come on, let's get on with it again. And try and see if you two can't keep from laughing.
Oh, I shan't laugh anymore. There's a nice little bit coming for me now. You'll see.
Well then, when she says, "Don't think any more of what I've said, you must forget," etc., you, sir, come in sharp with, I understand, and then you ask her
What?
why she is in mourning.
Not at all. See here. When I told him that it was useless for me to be thinking about my wearing mourning, do you know how he answered me? "Ah, well," he said, "then let's take off this little frock."
Disgusting.
Great, just what we want to send shockwaves through the airwaves.
But it's the truth.
What does that matter? Acting is our business here. Truth up to a certain point, but no further.
What do you want to do then?
You'll see. Leave it to me.
No, sir. What you want to do is piece together a little romantic, sentimental scene out of my disgust. Out of all the reasons, each more cruel and vile than the other, why I am what I am. He is to ask me why I'm in mourning, and I'm to answer, with tears in my eyes, that it is just 2 months since Papa died. No, sir, no. He's got to say to me, as he did say, well, let's take off this little dress at once. And I, with my 2 months' mourning in my heart, went there behind that screen and with these fingers tingling with shame.
For heaven's sake, what are you saying?
The truth! The truth!
It may be, I don't deny it, and I can understand all of your horror, but you must surely see that you can't have this kind of thing on the radio. It won't go.
Not possible, eh? Very well. I'm much obliged to you, but I'm off.
Now be reasonable. Don't lose your temper.
I won't stop here. I won't. I can see you fixed it all up with him in your office. All this talk about what is possible. I understand. He wants to get at his complicated cerebral drama, to have his famous remorses and torments as acted out. But I want to act my part. My part!
Ah, just your part? But if you would pardon me, there are other parts other than yours. His and your mother's. In a production, you can have a character becoming too prominent and overshadowing all the others. The thing is to pack them all into a neat little framework and then act what is actable. I am willing to admit, my dear young lady, that from your point of view it would be a fine idea if each character could tell the public all his troubles in a nice monologue or a regular 1-hour lecture. You must restrain yourself, my dear, and in your own interest too, because this fury of yours, this exaggerated disgust you show, may make a bad impression, you know, after you have confessed to me that there were others before him at Madame Pace's more than once.
It's true. But remember, those others mean him for me all the same.
Well, well, and does the weight of so much responsibility seem nothing to you? Give him a chance to act it, to get it over.
How? How can he act all his noble remorses, all his moral torments, if you want to spare him the horror of being discovered one day, after he had asked her what he did ask her, in the arms of her, that already fallen woman, that child, sir, the child he used to watch come out of school? At present, we are unknown to the public. Tomorrow, you will act us as you wish, treating us in your own manner. But do you really want to see drama? Do you want to see it flash out as it really did?
Of course, that's just what I do want, so I could use as much of it as is possible.
Well then, ask that mother there to leave us.
No, don't permit it, sir. Don't permit it.
But it's only to try it.
I can't bear it. I can't.
But since it has happened already, I don't understand.
It's taking place now. It happens all the time. My torment isn't a pretend one. I live and feel every minute of my torture. Those 2 children there, have you heard them speak? They can't speak anymore. They cling to me to keep my torment actual and vivid for me, but for themselves, they do not exist. They aren't anymore. And she has run away. She has left me and is lost. If I now see her here before me, it is only to renew for me the tortures I have suffered for her too.
The eternal moment. This young woman is here to catch me, fix me, and hold me eternally in the stocks for that one fleeting and shameful moment of my life. She can't give it up, and you, sir, cannot either fairly spare me it.
I never said I didn't want to act it. It will form, as a matter of fact, the nucleus of the whole first act right up to Amalia's surprise.
Just so. This is my punishment. The passion in all of us that must culminate in her final cry.
I can hear it still in my ears. It's driven me mad, that cry. You can put me on as you like, it doesn't matter. Fully dressed, if you like, provided I have at least the arm bare, because standing with him, my head so and my arms around his neck, I saw a vein pulsing in my arm here, and then, as if that live vein had awakened disgust in me, I closed my eyes like this and let my head sink on his breast. Cry out, mother! Cry out! Cry out as you did then!
No! Stay away from her! My daughter, stay away! You brute! She is my daughter, don't you see? She's my daughter!
Fine! Damned good. And then, of course, curtain!
Yes, of course, because that's the way it really happened.
Oh yes, no doubt about it. We'll put a break for sponsors here, and then the next act.
The Youth Shakespeare Society of Pittsburgh is pleased to support this episode of Play on Words. Ever heard of a theater company where young people take on all the roles? Acting, designing, and directing. At the Youth Shakespeare Society of Pittsburgh, their mission is to make Shakespeare fun again. Join them as they finish out their riotous 2024 season with Julius Caesar on August 2nd through 4th at the Hillman Center for Performing Arts. To buy tickets and learn more, go to youthshakespearepgh.org. Also, follow them on Instagram at youthshakespearepgh for future audition announcements and design openings. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Ah, yes, the second act. Leave it to me. Leave it all to me as we arranged, and you'll see. It'll go fine.
The entry of the old man and myself into the house, in spite of that petulant boy.
Leave it to me, I tell you.
Do let it be clear, at any rate, that it is in spite of my wishes.
For all the good that's come of it.
It doesn't matter. The more harm done to us, the more remorse for him.
I understand. Good heavens, I understand. I'm taking it into account.
I beg you, sir, to let it appear quite plain that for conscience' sake I did try in every way
to pacify me, to dissuade me from spiting him. Mr. Manager, do as she wants. Satisfy her. Because it is true. I enjoy it immensely. Anyhow, as you can see, the meeker she is, the more she tries to get at his heart, and the more distant and aloof does he become.
Are we going to begin the second act or not?
I'm not going to talk any more now, but I must tell you this. You can't have the whole action take place in the garden, as you suggest. It is impossible.
Why not?
Because the gloomy fellow here is always shut up alone in his room, and then there's all the part of that poor dazed-looking boy there, which takes place indoors.
Maybe. On the other hand, you will understand, we can't change scenes 3 or 4 times in one act. Too much reliance on narration detracts from the drama unfolding, you see.
They used to once.
And I suspect they still do, when the setting of the scene has a visual element to it.
It makes the illusion easier.
Have we all gone mad? This production is for the radio. You may be used to gallivanting on stage with spotlights and set pieces to drape yourself over, but here we rely on the pure ability of the intonation, the vocal range of our actors, with narration and effects to set the scene only as needed. Illusion.
The illusion. For heaven's sake, stop saying illusion. Please don't use that word, which is particularly painful for us.
And why, if you please?
It's painful. Cruel. Really cruel. And you ought to understand that.
But why? What ought we to say, then? The illusion, I tell you, sir, which we've got to create for the audience.
With our acting.
The illusion of a reality.
I understand, but you perhaps do not understand us. Forgive me. You see, here for you and your actors, the thing is only, and rightly so, a kind of game.
A game? We're not children here, if you please. We are serious actors.
I don't deny it. What I mean is the game, or play, of your art, which has to give, as the gentleman says, a perfect illusion of reality.
Precisely.
Now, if you consider the fact that we, as we are, have no other reality outside of this illusion...
And what does that mean?
As I say, sir, that which is a game of art for you is our sole reality. But not only for us, you know, by the way. Just you think it over well. Can you tell me who you are?
What? Who am I? I am myself.
And if I were to tell you that that isn't true, because you and I...
I should say you are mad.
You are quite right to laugh, because we are all making believe here. And you can therefore object that it's only for a joke that that gentleman there, whose naturally is himself, has to be me, who am on the contrary myself, this thing you see here. You see, I've caught you in a trap.
We've been
trap.
But we've had all this over once before. Do you want to begin again?
No. That wasn't my meaning. In fact, I should like to request you to abandon this game of art which you are accustomed to play here with your actors, and to ask you seriously once again, who are you?
If this fellow here hasn't got a nerve. A man who calls himself a character comes and asks me who I am?
A character, sir, may always ask a man who he is, because a character has really a life of his own, marked with his special characteristics, for which reason he is always somebody. But a man may very well be nobody.
Yes, but you are asking these questions of me, the boss, the manager. Do you understand?
But only in order to know if you, as you really are now, see yourself as you once were with all the illusions that were yours then, with all the things both inside and outside of you as they seemed to you, as they were then indeed for you. Well, sir, if you think of all those illusions that mean nothing to you now, of all those things which don't even seem to you to exist anymore, while once they were real for you, don't you feel that the very earth under your feet is sinking away from you when you reflect? That in the same way, this you as you feel it today, all this present reality of yours, is fated to seem a mere illusion to you tomorrow?
Well, well, and where does this take us anyway?
Oh, nowhere. It's only to show you that if we have no other reality beyond this illusion, you too must not count overmuch on your reality as you feel it today, since, like that of yesterday, it may prove an illusion for you tomorrow.
Ah, excellent. Then you'll be saying next that you, with this comedy of yours that you brought here to act, are truer and more real than I am.
But of course, without doubt.
Ah, really?
Why, I thought you'd understand that from the beginning.
More real than I.
If your reality can change from one day to another...
But everyone knows it can change. It is always changing, the same as anyone else's.
No, sir, not ours. Look here. This is the very difference. Our reality doesn't change. It can't change. It can't be other than what it is because it is already fixed forever. It's terrible. Ours is an immutable reality which should make you shudder when you approach us if you are really conscious of the fact that your reality is a mere transitory and fleeting illusion, taking this form today and that tomorrow according to the conditions, according to your will, your sentiments, which in turn are controlled by an intellect that shows them to you today in one manner and tomorrow, who knows how. Illusions of reality represented in this fatuous comedy of life that never ends, nor can ever end. Because if tomorrow it were to end, then why, all would be finished.
Oh, for God's sake, will you at least finish with this philosophizing and let us try and shape this comedy which you yourself have brought me here? You argue and philosophize a bit too much, my dear sir. You know, you seem to me almost, by the way, I think you introduced yourself to me as what shall we say, a character created by an author who did not afterward care to make a drama of his own creations.
It is the simple truth, sir.
Nonsense! Cut that out, please! None of us believes it, because it isn't a thing, as you must recognize yourself, which one can believe seriously. If you want to know, it seems to me you are trying to imitate the manner of a certain author whom I heartily detest. I warn you. Although I have unfortunately bound myself to put on one of his works, as a matter of fact, I was just starting to rehearse it when you arrived. And this is what we've gained, out of the frying pan and into the fire.
I don't know to what author you may be alluding, but believe me, I feel what I think. And I seem to be philosophizing only for those who do not think what they feel, because they blind themselves with their own sentiment. I know that for many people this self-blinding seems much more human, but the contrary is really true. For man never reasons so much and becomes so introspective as when he suffers, since he is anxious to get at the cause of his sufferings, to learn who has produced them, and whether it is just or unjust that he should have to bear them. On the other hand, when he is happy, he takes his happiness as it comes and doesn't analyze it, just as if happiness were his right. The animals suffer without reasoning about their sufferings. But take the case of a man who suffers and begins to reason about it. Oh no, it can't be allowed. Let him suffer like an animal and then, yet, he is human.
Look here, you're off again, philosophizing, worse than ever.
Because I suffer, sir. I'm not philosophizing, I'm crying aloud the reasons of my suffering.
I should like to know if anyone has ever heard of a character who gets right out of his part and pirouettes and speechifies as you do. Have you ever heard of a case? I haven't.
You've never met such a case, sir, because authors, as a rule, hide the labor of their creations. When the characters are really alive before their author, the latter does nothing but follow them in their action, in their words, in their situations which they suggest to him, and he has to will them the way they will themselves. For there's trouble if he doesn't. When a character is born, he acquires at once such an independence, even of his own author, that he can be imagined by everybody even in many other situations where the author never dreamed of placing him. And so, he acquires for himself a meaning which the author never thought of giving him.
Yes, I know this.
What is there, then, to marvel at in us? Imagine such a misfortune for characters as I have described to you, to be born of an author's fantasy and be denied life by him, and then answer me if these characters left alive, and yet without life, weren't right in doing what they did do and are doing now, and after they attempted everything in their power to persuade him to give them their stage life. We've all tried him in turn, I, this young woman, and Amalia.
It's true. I too have sought to tempt him. Many, many times. When he has been sitting at his writing table, feeling a bit melancholy at the twilight hour, he would sit in his armchair, too lazy to switch on the light, and all the shadows that crept into his room were full of our presence coming to tempt him. Mother here with that son of hers, I with that child, and that boy there always alone, and then I with him, and then I alone. Alone in those shadows. My life! My life! Oh, what scenes we proposed to him, and I tempted him more than any of the others.
Maybe, but perhaps it was your fault that he refused to give us life, because you were too insistent, too troublesome.
Nonsense! Didn't he make me so himself? In my opinion, Mr. Manager, he abandoned us in a fit of depression, of disgust for the ordinary theater as the public knows it and likes it.
Exactly what it was, sir. Exactly that.
Not at all. Don't believe it for a minute. Listen to me. You'll be doing quite right to modify, as you suggest, the excesses both of this girl here who wants to do too much, and of this young man who won't do anything at all.
No, nothing.
You too get over the mark occasionally, my dear sir, if I may say so.
I? When? Where?
Always. Continuously. Then there's this insistence of yours in trying to make us believe you are a character. And then, too, you must really argue and philosophize less. You know, much less.
Well, if you want to take away from me the possibility of representing the torment of my spirit, which never gives me peace, you will be suppressing me. That's all. Every true man, sir, who is a little above the level of the beasts and plants, does not live for the sake of living without knowing how to live, but he lives so as to give a meaning and a value of his own life. For me, this is everything. I cannot give this up, just to represent a mere fact as she wants. It's all very well for her, since her vendetta lies in the fact. I'm not going to do it. It destroys my raison d'etre.
Your raison d'etre? Oh, we're going ahead fine. First she starts off, and then you jump in. At this rate, we'll never finish.
Now, don't be offended. Have it your own way, provided, however, that within the limits of the part you assign us, each one's sacrifice isn't too great.
You've got to understand that you can't go on arguing at your own pleasure. Drama is action, sir. Action and not confounded philosophy.
All right. I'll do just as much arguing and philosophizing as everybody does when he is considering his own torments.
If the drama permits. But for heaven's sake, man, let's get along and come to the scene.
It seems to me we've got too much action with our coming into the old man's house. You said before, you couldn't change the scene every 5 minutes.
Of course not. What we've got to do is combine and group up all the facts in one simultaneous close-knit action. We can't have it as you want, with your little brother wandering like a ghost from room to room, hiding behind doors and meditating a project which... What did you say it did to him?
Consumes him, sir. Wastes him away.
Well, it may be. And then at the same time you want the little girl there to be playing in the garden? One in the house and the other in the garden. Isn't that it?
Yes, in the sun, in the sun. That is my only pleasure, to see her happy and careless in the garden, after the misery and squalor of the horrible room where we all four slept together. And I had to sleep with her. I, do you understand? With my vile, contaminated body next to hers, with her folding me fast in her loving little arms. In the garden, whenever she spied me, she would run to take me by the hand. She didn't care for the big flowers, only the little ones, and she loved to show me them and pet me.
Well, then we'll have it in the garden. Everything shall happen in the garden, and we'll group the other scenes there. Do we have a record of birds chirping? A gentle breeze, perhaps, to set the scene?
Sir, though I don't quite understand your reason, you've made it clear you have no interest in permitting us to play out our drama visually. May we at least perform this scene as if it were on the stage? It is essential that the action is completed physically to allow us to fulfill the role for which we've come to you.
Very well, if it is truly the only way through this. Play out the scenes as you would on stage, and we'll take down what occurs and adapt it. Somehow. You've got a fresh pen and a clean paper, I presume?
Of course, sir.
Good. Get me a variety of boxes from storage, would you? A small square one for the fountain and some taller ones to act as trees. Then arrange them in the booth to set the scene, would you?
Right away.
The rest of you, clear some space. Yes. Like that. Move the chairs back, just scoot the microphones and stands over. And get that coat rack out of there, would you? Will that suffice?
Oh yes, of course. The magic of the stage will be able to take over from there.
There, they fix it up. Good. This is just to get an idea, of course. The boy, instead of hiding behind the doors, will wander about here in the garden, hiding behind the trees. Let's try it now. Come along, come along. It's a nice business, this lad here. What's the matter with him? We'll have to give him a word or two to say in the actual production, of course. Come on, come on! Let me see you a little. Hide here. Yes, like that. Excellent. Fine. Suppose the little girl were to surprise him as he looks round, and run over to him so we could give him a word or two to say. Make sure you're getting all of this.
It's useless to hope he will speak, as long as that fellow there is here. You must send him away first.
Delighted, delighted. I don't ask for anything better.
No, where are you going? Wait a bit.
I've got nothing to do with this affair. Let me go. Please, let me go.
What do you mean by saying you've got nothing to do with this?
Don't bother to stop him. He won't go away.
He has to act the terrible scene in the garden with his mother.
I shall act nothing at all. I've said so from the very beginning. Let me go.
Allow me? Well, go away then if you want to. You see, he can't. He can't go away. He's obliged to stay here, indissolubly bound to the chain. If I, who fly off when that happens, which has to happen, because I can't bear him, if I'm still here and support that face and expression of his, you can well imagine that he is unable to move. He has to remain here, has to stop with that nice father of his and that mother whose only son he is. Come on, mother, come along. You see, Mr. Manager, she was getting up to keep him back. Come on, dear mother. You can imagine how little she wants to show these actors of yours what she really feels. But so eager is she to get near him that... There, you see. She's willing to act her part.
I must.
No. If I can't go away, then I'll stop here. But I repeat, I act nothing.
You can force him, sir.
Nobody can force me.
I can.
Wait a minute. Wait. First of all, the baby has to go to the fountain.
Yes, of course. That's it. Both at the same time.
What do you mean by both at the same time? It isn't right. There was no scene between me and her. Ask her how it was.
Yes, it's true. I'd come into his room.
Into my room, do you understand? Nothing to do with the garden.
It doesn't matter. Haven't I told you we've got to group the action?
What do you want?
Nothing. I was just looking at you.
Ah, the pale imitation of Mother is at it too. To react her part.
Exactly, and it seems to me you ought to be grateful to them for their interest.
Yes, but haven't you yet perceived that it isn't possible to live in front of a mirror which not only freezes us with the image of ourselves, but throws our likeness back at us with a horrible grimace?
That is true. Absolutely true. You must see that.
He's right. Move away from them.
Do as you like. I'm out of this.
Be quiet, will you? And let me hear your mother. You were saying? You had entered.
Yes. Into his room. Because I couldn't stand it any longer. I went to empty my heart to him of all the anguish that tortures me, but as soon as he saw me come in...
Nothing happened. There was no scene. I went away, that's all. I don't care for scenes.
It's true. True, that's how it was.
Well now, we've got to do this bit between you and him. It's indispensable.
I'm ready when you are. If you could only find a chance for me to tell him what I feel here in my heart.
You'll do this for your mother. For your mother, do you understand?
I do nothing.
For God's sake, do as I tell you. Don't you hear your mother asking you for a favor? Haven't you even got the guts to be a son?
No. And for God's sake, stop it, or else...
You... You...
Please, please.
You've got to obey, do you hear?
What does it mean, this madness you've got? Have you no decency that you insist on showing everyone our shame? I won't do it. I won't. And I stand for the will of our author in this. He didn't want to put us on the stage after all.
Man alive, you came here!
He did. I didn't.
Aren't you here now?
It was his wish, and he dragged us along with him. He's told you not only the things that did happen, but also things that have never happened at all.
Well, tell me then what did happen. You went out of your room without saying a word?
Without a word, so as to avoid a scene.
And then what did you do?
Nothing. Walking in the garden.
Well, walking in the garden.
Why on earth do you insist? It's horrible.
The baby?
There, in the fountain.
She was following him at the moment.
And then you...
I ran over to her. I was jumping in to drag her out when I saw something that froze my blood. The boy, standing stock still, with eyes like a madman's, watching his little drowned sister in the fountain. Then...
No!
How did it revolve?
This is horrible.
My son! My son! Help! Help!
Is he really wounded?
He's dead.
No, it's only make-believe. It's only pretense.
Pretense. Reality, sir. Reality.
Pretense! Reality! To hell with it all! Never in my life has such a thing happened to me! God, we've been recording this whole time! Shut it off, I say! Turn it off at once!
This has been part 2 of 6 Characters in Search of an Author by Luigi Pirandello. English version by Edward Storer. Adapted for audio by Travis Barkefeld. Directed and sound designed by Soren Denise. Audio editing by Melissa Black. Stage managed by Travis Barkefeld. Featuring the voices of John Hartwell as the manager, Tracy Lynch as stagehand, Shauna Fayed as narrator, Leah Stauber as leading lady, Grant Jones as leading man, Linda Stayer as actor and Madam Pace, Philip Fry as the father, Carly Mihailo as the stepdaughter, Amari Shakir as the mother, AJ Whitman as the son. Theme music for Play on Words by Christ Clark. Listen more at christclark.bandcamp.com. Play on Words podcast is produced by Glass Fox Productions, an audio storytelling company. To support future productions, go to ko-fi.com/glassfoxproductions or learn more at www.glassfoxproductions.com. Thank you to Youth Shakespeare Society of Pittsburgh for sponsoring today's episode. Thank you for listening and for continuing to support the arts. Good show, everybody. Good show.